In the world of global trade, every mile matters, and the shortest route is always the most profitable. Shipping companies and nations alike are constantly searching for ways to move goods faster, cheaper, and more efficiently across the world's oceans. The ability to shave days off a journey can mean millions in savings and a decisive edge in the fiercely competitive world of international commerce. For over a century, the Panama Canal has reigned as the king of these shortcuts, connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans and transforming global shipping routes. Its locks and channels have become a symbol of human ingenuity and ambition, allowing ships to bypass the long and perilous journey around the tip of South America. But what if an even grander passage could emerge just to the north, cutting through the heart of Nicaragua? Imagine a new canal, wider and deeper, capable of handling the world's largest ships and opening up new possibilities for trade and economic growth. This is the bold vision behind the Nicaragua Canal, a project so ambitious it could upend the very foundations of global shipping. The proposed canal would stretch over 170 miles, linking the Caribbean Sea to the Pacific Ocean, and offering a new superhighway for maritime commerce. Today, many of the world's largest ships, known as post-Panamax vessels, are simply too big to fit through the Panama Canal, even after its recent expansion. These massive ships carry more cargo than ever before, but their size limits their routes and slows down global trade. A Nicaraguan canal, purpose-built for these giants, could revolutionize trade between Asia and the Americas. It would allow the largest ships to pass directly through Central America, saving time, fuel, and money. But the idea of a canal here isn't new. It's a dream that has persisted for generations. For centuries, Nicaragua's unique geography, especially the vast expanse of Lake Nicaragua, has tempted explorers, dreamers, and engineers. The lake's location and size make it a natural candidate for a transoceanic canal, and countless proposals have been drawn up over the years. Yet time and again, technical challenges, political instability, and the staggering costs involved have kept this dream just out of reach. Failed attempts and abandoned machinery litter the landscape, reminders of how difficult such a project truly is. Now, with significant Chinese investment and political backing, the Nicaragua Canal project is back on the table. This new chapter raises urgent questions about global power, economic ambition, and the shifting future of international trade. The Nicaragua Canal is more than just a waterway. It's a bold challenge to the established order, a symbol of ambition, and a test of what's possible when nations dream big. Every megaproject needs a visionary. For the Nicaragua Canal, that's Wang Jing, a Chinese telecom billionaire with mysterious connections. In 2013, Wang's HKND Group secured a 50-year concession from Nicaragua to build and run the canal, despite his lack of experience in infrastructure. His company's ties to the Chinese state fueled speculation. Is Wang a front for Beijing's ambitions? The project fits China's global strategy, especially under President Xi Jinping's Belt and Road Initiative. A Chinese-run canal in Central America would be a geopolitical game-changer. Wang's deal included not just the canal, but ports, an airport, and free trade zones, an unprecedented level of foreign control in the region. The Nicaragua Canal was designed to dwarf Panama's, stretching 278 kilometers over 3 times longer. It would be wider and deeper, built for the world's largest ships, vessels too big for Panama's locks. The $50 billion plan included 2 deep-water ports, an airport, a railway, an oil pipeline, and free trade zones. An entire economic ecosystem. The route would cut from the Pacific, across Lake Nicaragua, through rainforests, and out to the Caribbean. Using the lake would reduce excavation, but the path would disrupt sensitive environments and communities. The canal's massive locks would allow ultra-large vessels, promising lower shipping costs and new trade possibilities. This wasn't just another canal, it was meant to be the new global standard, but its scale also brought unprecedented risks and controversy. Officially, the canal is presented as a private business venture, spearheaded by international investors and companies. On the surface, it appears to be just another ambitious infrastructure project, promising economic growth and new opportunities for Nicaragua. But beneath the formal agreements and handshakes, the true stakes are much higher. For China, and especially for President Xi Jinping, the canal's strategic value is impossible to ignore. Xi and his advisors are watching every development closely, aware that this project could shift the balance of power in global trade. China's economic engine relies on the steady flow of goods across oceans. Secure, reliable trade routes are the lifeblood of its manufacturing and export-driven economy. Any disruption could have ripple effects across the globe. Currently, the Panama Canal and the Strait of Malacca are two of the world's most critical maritime choke points. Both are heavily influenced, if not outright controlled, by the United States and its allies. For Beijing, this represents a significant vulnerability, one that could be exploited in times of tension or conflict. By supporting a new canal in Nicaragua, managed by a Chinese company, China would gain a direct and independent passage from the Pacific to the Atlantic. This would allow Chinese ships to bypass US-controlled routes, reducing the risk of blockades or interference. The project fits seamlessly into the Belt and Road Initiative, China's massive global infrastructure push. Expanding into the Americas, the canal would serve as a key link in a growing network of Chinese influence connecting Asia, Africa, Europe, and now Latin America. Establishing a major presence in Central America would give Beijing unprecedented leverage in a region historically dominated by the United States. It's not just about trade, it's about political influence, alliances, and the ability to shape regional dynamics. The canal would also streamline China's access to vital Latin American resources: iron ore, oil, soybeans, and more. These raw materials are essential for fueling China's factories and sustaining its rapid industrial growth. For Xi Jinping, the Nicaraguan canal is about far more than commerce. It's a bold move to reshape global power structures, secure China's future, and challenge the dominance of the United States on the world stage. The Nicaragua Canal was pitched as a challenger to Panama's century-old dominance. Panama's canal is efficient and recently expanded but still can't handle the very largest ships. Nicaragua's design targeted these ultra-large vessels, hoping to attract premium shipping traffic. But the longer route, 278 kilometers versus Panama's 82, meant slower transits, offset by the ability to use bigger, more cost-effective ships. Panama's canal is state-run and a source of national pride. Nicaragua's would be privately controlled by a foreign company, raising questions about sovereignty and profit. Geopolitically, Panama represents U.S. influence. Nicaragua's project is tied to China. The rivalry isn't just about canals, it's about superpower competition in the Americas, the stakes control over the arteries of global trade. Supporters claimed the canal would transform Nicaragua, one of the hemisphere's poorest nations, by doubling GDP and creating hundreds of thousands of jobs. For China, it promised a secure, efficient trade route for exports and resource imports, reducing reliance on US-controlled passages. The canal would also introduce competition, potentially lowering shipping costs worldwide. Countries like Brazil and Venezuela could send goods to Asia more directly, while global consumers might see lower prices. Proponents even argued that larger, more efficient ships would reduce shipping's carbon footprint. The vision shared prosperity, greener trade, and a new era of global commerce. But the reality would prove far more complicated. The project faced towering obstacles from the start. The $50 billion price tag was daunting, with no clear source of funding. Major investors and Chinese state banks kept their distance. Environmental concerns were massive. The route cut through Lake Nicaragua, threatening water supplies and biodiversity, and risked displacing thousands, including indigenous communities. The environmental review was widely criticized as rushed and inadequate. Protests erupted across Nicaragua, with citizens fearing loss of land and sovereignty. Technically, the project was a colossal challenge, far beyond anything Wang Jing or HKND had attempted. Doubts about their ability to deliver were widespread. These financial, environmental, and social hurdles kept the canal from ever breaking ground. In Washington, the canal sparked quiet alarm. For over a century, the U.S. has seen Central America as its strategic backyard. A Chinese-backed canal was a direct challenge to this order. Publicly, U.S. officials questioned the project's viability and environmental impact. Privately, they worried about China's growing foothold so close to home. A Chinese-run canal could threaten U.S. military mobility and serve dual commercial military purposes. The U.S. preferred to let the project falter on its own, rather than confront Nicaragua or China directly. Still, the proposal was a wake-up call, highlighting China's willingness to compete in America's sphere of influence. It forced Washington to rethink its engagement in Latin America. The canal became a symbol of shifting global power. As of August 2025, the Nicaragua Canal remains unbuilt, a dream deferred. What was once envisioned as a transformative project promising to reshape global trade and bring prosperity to Nicaragua now lingers as a memory. The grand ambitions that once filled the air have faded, leaving behind only traces of what could have been. The initial excitement faded as investment dried up and Wang Jing's fortune dwindled. Investors who once saw opportunity began to back away, and the financial foundation of the project crumbled. The world watched as headlines shifted from optimism to skepticism, and the canal's future became increasingly uncertain. HKND, the company behind the canal, has disappeared from public view, and the land remains untouched. Offices that once buzzed with activity now stand silent, and the logo that symbolized hope for a new era is fading into obscurity. Yet the 50-year concession is still valid. The legal framework for the canal endures, quietly waiting for a new champion or a shift in fortune that could bring the project back to life. The project could be revived if conditions change, especially if China's government steps in. With the right political will and financial backing, the canal could once again become a focal point of international attention, reigniting debates about its potential and its risks. The canal might become a cautionary tale of overreach, or it could return in a new form, perhaps as a port or railway. The land set aside for the canal could still play a role in Nicaragua's future, serving as the foundation for new infrastructure projects that might finally deliver on some of the original promises. Regardless, it's already changed Nicaragua and global geopolitics, exposing deep social and environmental divides. The canal's legacy is felt in the lives of those displaced, in the debates over sovereignty and development, and in the environmental scars left behind. The canal is now a powerful what if, a ghost on the map, and a reminder of the ambitions shaping the 21st century. Its route, once so carefully plotted, now exists only in blueprints and memories, haunting the landscape and the imagination of a nation. Its legacy, a symbol of dreams, rivalries, and the shifting tides of global power. The story of the Nicaragua Canal endures not as a feat of engineering, but as a testament to the hopes, challenges, and complexities that define our world.